Hello and welcome back to Redirecting. Now this video is going to be kind of interesting. It's a little different than what I'm used to talking about, and believe it or not, I'm not going to really be talking about what you see in the title here, only to reference it to make a whole other point, because on the surface I can care less about this, but I always see the other side of things. I always see the other side of things when you take a further look. When you look closer at things, you can see other things that can come as a result of this. It kind of reminds me of when they talked about doing the Black James Bond, and I believe it was supposed to be a female, and then also was it Milan or one of those? It was some Disney show where they were casting. I know Annie was one of them. They cast a little black girl, and just a number of other scenarios where they used a black person in place of what everyone is used to seeing, right? And so apparently Tracee Ellis Ross and more big names, they are talking about recreating the Golden Girls, okay? Now, to be honest with you, that would be interesting. It would be, okay? The particular actors that are talking about doing this, of course, is Tracee Ellis Ross, Sanaa Lathan, Alfre Woodard, Regina King. I believe that's it. And it's supposed to be on Zoom, apparently. And so the way it's supposed to be done is Sanaa Lathan is supposed to be Blanche, Regina King, Dorothy, Diana Ross's daughter, Tracee Ellis Ross, is supposed to be Rose, and Alfre Woodard is supposed to be Sophia. So it is interesting. It is very interesting, but that's not what I want to talk about. What I want to really talk about here is some of the comments that I noticed under the article. And it kind of goes back to this whole thing of how history has been switched around so much, but those who whited out history, they don't like the same thing to be done to them. Now, even though we're talking about fictional characters, right? Here's one of the statements that stood out to me. There's quite a few very sarcastic statements about this because they don't like black people remaking white shows. They just don't like it, okay? But this one really stood out. It says, I think they should remake The Color Purple and use the Irish for stars, because Irish were also oppressed back in the day and need to change a TV show to get reparations as well. Okay, if my memory serves me correctly, the Irish were indentured servants who were eventually freed and treated and absorbed right into the white community. Okay, many of us today, if we were to see an Irish person, would know them from, if any different from someone who's from, I'm not going to say Switzerland because a lot of them have blonde hair, but just any average white person, we wouldn't know any different unless they told us they were Irish, okay? And so when I read through some of the statements, there were a lot of very sarcastic statements like that. Now, I want to point out the hypocrisy in that and how they get very upset when a black person plays the role of someone that we are used to seeing as white. Okay, let me point out some very true facts about history. These are fictional characters, but in real life, all of the ancient people, let's start with the Egyptians. We know that the ancient Egyptians, before they were whited out and have these Arab-like features today, they were black people, okay? As a matter of fact, the black Egyptians are still in Egypt, but they rarely put them on camera. You see, when you look on the walls of ancient Egypt, you see the hieroglyphs of black people. When you look at the Israelite slaves on the walls of ancient Egypt, you see black people, right? But that has been shoved down our throats as white people. They've been portrayed as white people in movies, in just a regular speech. When they teach it, in some cases, they're trying to tell you that the Egyptians, there were websites that I've seen years ago when we were researching the Whited Out documentary, the very first part of the series. We saw websites that were just fighting tooth and nail, trying to prove that the ancient Egyptians were white people. Not Arab looking, nothing like that. They were trying to prove that they were straight up white with blue eyes. The ancient Egyptians. I keep saying that because some of you are going to say, well, when you look in Egypt, the people do have pale skin. Today, the people look different, just like all of the world. They've been whited out. The original Chinese have been whited out. The Chinese started off black people. I know this for a fact. As a matter of fact, even they know for a fact. They know that they come from black people. And see, this is not an issue of pride for us. This is an issue of historical accuracy that is now being portrayed as a bald-faced lie. People are of the mindset that everything started off white, and no one can give a reasonable explanation as to where black people come from. So they have to say that we come from monkeys. You see, they have to make up lies just to cover up the truth. The truth of the matter is every race on this planet comes from black people. And for us, it's not an issue of pride, but it is what the truth is. It is what it is, right? And so even when you look at biblical characters, they have been portrayed as white in all of the films. You see, every so often they will throw in one black person, might be a slave in the background or something like that, or someone insignificant. Here more recently, they did throw in a black Samson, you see, as if the rest of the Israelites were just white people, but Samson somehow just came out dark skinned with locks, you see. But anyway, when I see the backlash and the anger and the sarcasm because the Golden Girls are going to be recast as black women, when I see people getting upset about that, we're talking about fictional characters, people who weren't really real, okay, just playing parts in a television series, right? But we've had to endure our whole history being whited out and being taught to the masses as if we weren't the ancient people. When we see images of Adam and Eve, for the most part, they show two white people who started off in the beginning. And so two white people are being portrayed as the very two first humans on earth, and that everyone else is supposed to have sprung from them. That is not historically correct, okay? Even if you don't believe in the Bible, okay? Even if you don't believe in the Bible, it is scientifically impossible for two white people to produce the darkest dark people that you see on the planet. But the darkest dark people have been able to produce white children. You can't do it the other way around. Now, they've been trying to make it seem like it is possible for two white people to produce a dark child, but it's always questionable things in the scenario, like did the mother play around on the father because the child looks mixed, but they never look black like Wesley Snipes, you see, never like that. But it's always some mixed looking child, as if mama might not be telling the truth about who daddy is, you see. It's always some scenario like that. But we all know that two white people cannot produce I'm not going to say the Ethiopians, let's just say the Maasai people in Africa, or the Limba tribe. Impossible. Scientifically impossible. So that's the angle that I wanted to cover this story at. Again, I'm not coming from a position of pride. I just wanted to point something out, that there's always this rage and upsetness and anger when black people start to portray white people that played a role in a film. Nothing real. So you all get upset about that stuff, but the real stuff, you're okay with that lie circulating like it's real education. That's all I'm going to say on that. Tell me what you think in the comment section about this whole little thing of the Golden Girls being black and the reaction that we're seeing as a result of it, and the swapping out of our true history in exchange for a whited out history. In the comment section, tell me what you think. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, share this video, and like it. With that, I am out. Ring the bell to be notified of new uploads on this channel, and also comment, share, like, and subscribe.